I've always been interested in farming, and I've been trying different ways of farming. I tried zero grazing cattle, I tried pigs.
Being a young person in farming is very challenging, because criticism never misses.
My name is Wycliffe Mkayagi Ngoda. This is my home. I'm now a senior citizen, and farming has been my passion.
My name is Robert Kivairu Milemi, a budding farmer in Vihiga County.
My name is Elton Chabeda Ngoda, a young farmer from Vihiga County, and this is Out of the Box by Orals East Africa.
This is Out of the Box by Oral East Africa.
Farming has been in this family right from my grandparents' time. So what we are doing is only upgrading and adapting more innovative ways and making it more economically viable.
My passion in agriculture started way before, when we were being brought up by our parents. It is what nature does, and so that's how the passion developed.
I came to realize it's very easy to make good money out of greenhouse farming, especially if you don't have a lot of capital. It's not capital intensive, and since I tried it in 2010 and failed, I decided to try this year again after getting some more knowledge, especially on YouTube. I've been going to YouTube to get more information, and I came up with a system which I see now it is working.
I've also been a teacher, and I've also been a researcher. I've worked in collaboration with CARI, the days it was called CARI, and the Forestry Research Station in Muguga for a long time. I was manning demo plots here as a team leader and amassing necessary information. I also partnered with an organization, Tropical Soil Fertility Program. Tropical TSBF, Tropical Soil Biology and Fertility Program, in conjunction with an organization from Wales. And we did a lot about soil fertility, soil enrichment, and that kind of thing. So I'm basically a nature person.
After high school, I joined the Yata School of Agriculture. Yes, and I did agriculture. So from there, we came out. Yes, and in the process of looking for employment, we decided, why not? Why not employ ourselves? Because there's the pride that comes with, I'm my own boss, yeah? Yes.
I started and planted 100 stems of cucumber on trial basis. I just finished harvesting, and from 100 stems, I made about 20,000 shillings. From only 100 stems, and 100 stems is a very small area. So most of these high-value crops, cucumbers, hoho, tomatoes, all of them.
After day 75, it will start yielding at least 1 tomato per day. At the peak, there'll be 2 or even 3 per day. So if you have 300 potted plants, you're going to end up with 1,000 tomatoes in a day. The going price here at Mbale is 10 to 20 shillings, one tomato.
For tomatoes, the market is readily available here. I even thought cucumbers would not sell, but surprisingly I could not even meet the market. I was unable to meet the market here at our local market. So I'm deciding to make even bigger greenhouses for cucumbers also. Yeah, hii maize imefanya watu wetu kuwa maskini. And even this little land they have, they don't produce anything in. If you can have tomatoes and you're selling on a daily basis, you have your 2,000, even 1,000 shillings. You can still buy maize any day you want. Si unaenda tu unanunua hata ya kuchoma. In fact, utanunua daily. Then mwenye anapanda mahindi atakula tu maybe for a weekend, the maize is over. Let these guys come, make money daily, because greenhouse is like you'll be making money daily. And like even those who are employed waiting for the end of the month, greenhouse wanakuja kununua. Me, my cucumbers, they were buying from the shamba, and I am getting cost to supply.
Yes, we limited the inputs because here we basically invested up to where we are. It's about 100,000 Kenyan shillings. So going by those, you know, like the canopy, it's just 10,000 shillings. But the Amiran one was 250,000 shillings. This one is just 10,000. Those containers, 700 of them were how many thousands? They were like about 10,000 also. We bought 700, which we'll use. So that comes, and it's included in the 100K. So you can see here we cut costs also. We cut risk, biological risk, and we also cut commercial cost and enhanced profit. So here we are likely to break even just in the first couple of weeks. If we go by the projections and no disaster happens. So it's easier to break even here than in the Amiran one. Because the Amiran one, the financial outlay came to like 400K. So even if they were projecting 700K, you'll still just get 300K at the end of the day. But here, we've invested 100, and we are likely to still get 600K at the end of the fruiting season. In a space of 20 by 50 feet. Yes. It's basically 20 by 50 feet. It's not even a quarter an acre. It's about an eighth of an acre. So you can make 3K per day. And that is on the lower side. It could grow. Supposing you had 2 units. So it's a good way to go. And we are not limiting ourselves to tomatoes. In fact, we've already done a trial run with Robert, with the cucumber. And they disappeared so fast. They were being ordered online. We have a lady in Dubai who says a cucumber costs 30, equivalent of 30 Kenya shillings one. And since we are planting organic and we get certification, our market for cucumber is already in Dubai.
So my advice is let people go for high value crops, but let go under a greenhouse. This is where the process starts. We collect tree leaves, any organic matter. But for this case, I've planted these agroveria trees particularly for the greenhouse. So you prune. After pruning, this one makes our manure, our organic manure. The leaves, yeah. Anything organic, even grass, anything you can get organic. So, like now we've been pruning so that we'll take them to the chamber where we make the manure. We actually burn it in a hole. We dig this hole, then we take all organic matter, very dried one, like what you can see here. We are drying. Then once we put it here, we light the fire down there. There is a hole. We use this main hole to burn the fire. And then after it is burned, we take tithonia leaves. That one, you start preparing it. You cut it and cut into pieces and put in a plastic container. It takes 14 days. After 14 days, you take that soup. So immediately we burn our organic matter in this hole. Then we pour it so that it cools down. Then that makes our biochar. The tithonia leaves are very good in NPK. NPK is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So we actually cool it by using the tithonia soup. By that way, actually, you are adding more nutrients into your biochar. It's called biochar. What you have come out from here, that is the biochar. We add a ratio of 1:1 with the manure. Any compost manure, ikuwe ya ng'ombe, ya sungura, ya kuku, a ratio of 1:1. After adding that ratio of 1:1, we also add the sand, this normal river sand. The river sand, so that you cannot, what you get will not be a hard pan. Hard pan means if you take the soil and put it in a bag and then start using it, at one time it becomes so hard, the roots will not penetrate. So to make it not become hard pan, we add sand. Sterilization, we put our soil in this drum and water in this drum. Then heat. What comes out is steam. So once the steam passes our concoction, it becomes sterilized. You don't have any bacteria, anything. Now the soil is now ready for our greenhouse so that we can plant tomatoes. We actually do that because of bacteria in the soil. How I started this, I had a greenhouse sometime in 2010, but I was planting directly in the soil. I lost over 600,000 because of it's called bacteria wilt. Actually, it has been a journey. If God told you, it has been a journey. We started in around 2010. We bought greenhouses. Personally, I knew this thing can work. And I was looking for ways how I can come up with a workable solution to that. Because 600,000 since then, it was a lot of money. So I started looking at ways of doing it. This one, I saw it somewhere. A friend of mine was doing it using banana. He was planting bananas. So bananas, they do the same. And he was doing mushrooms. So down inside, I thought, this can also do for our tomatoes. I decided to try it. And for the first time, I've started harvesting. Yeah, so after we've made our soil there, we carry the soil and put them in these bags. I'm using old cement bags. We put the soil in cement bags. If you can notice, like this one, I'm doing a cucumber, some 2-4 lines. If you notice, we have planted halfway. The reason we planted halfway, when I did my first cucumber, I planted full, but I discovered the roots were not actually reaching the soil, getting to the soil properly. So after this, when the cucumber comes up, we will fill the bag. It's the same thing we do for the tomatoes. So after filling the bag with your planting, then you plant the seed, and that is that. That's now what we have for the tomatoes now. I have had a few challenges, but at least for the first crop, I'm impressed. That's why I've added this second greenhouse. And now I'm even more encouraged to add even more greenhouses. If I can tell you the truth, I did it myself. One boy, I did this myself. I have used these agrovelia trees. I bought the only thing I bought maybe is the ropes and the cover itself. But otherwise, everything else from here. So I'm trying. Okay, maybe the other thing I bought is maybe the cover, the ground cover, so that our bags are not in direct contact with the soil. I did the first one is 10 by 8 meters. 10 by 8 meters, the polythene bag costed around 15,000. Maybe the bags were about 500 at 10 bob per bag. So the overall cost, I have the data, is about 60,000 shillings. The overall cost of 10 by 8 meters. The only problem that they might get is when you are to sterilize the soil, because that needs enough firewood, enough you'll use water and a lot of time, because to sterilize 500 bags will took me about 15 days. Burning that soil for about a length of 15 days. So that is where the tricky comes in. And probably if you don't know, like me, because of the passion, I've walked the journey. So if one doesn't know, he'll have to spend so much on the maintenance. But probably with our guidance, some of us who are in the field already, he'll not meet a lot of challenges. But is with around 40 to 60,000. If you have trees like here, it reduces the cost. With around 40,000, you can be able to bring up the greenhouse. We have a lot of rains here. In fact, if you watch my system, and I have never gone to the river because of the greenhouse. Because of this rains, one week, 2 weeks, I am still having some water because I pump it into this end.
Information never dies. So what I had from my grandmother is still in my head. Like my grandmother would tell me, don't grow bananas in the second season, the short rains. I never asked her why. She probably also didn't know why. You grow bananas in the main season, in the good. You see, I came to learn that the main season has more water for a longer time. And bananas depend on water. The more water they get, the more they grow. But my grandmother would just say, bananas are not grown in the short rains. You grow bananas at the beginning. So that kind of information. So if I wanted to grow bananas, even in the year 2025, I would still grow them at the beginning, the main rains. But then also, we learn things like soil pests, soil infections, how things are endemic to the soil, which we didn't know. Now we know. Now we grew up being told, oh, such things don't grow here. This and that doesn't grow here. Now we know why. And we've got interventions from our children. You treat the soil. You treat the soil. You incorporate with biochar. Why biochar? Because once nutrients go into biochar, they don't leak into the soil. They remain there for the plant to tap. So if there is biochar in your planting material, the nutrients remain there. So the plant will just tap, tap, tap. But if you have no biochar, the water just carries the nutrients. That's why we say, oh, our land is tired. We've been talking of our land being tired, it doesn't grow things. It's because of the nutrients being leaked away and not being replenished. Now with biochar in place, the soil won't grow tired. So you can see how old knowledge and new knowledge are intermarrying to give good results. That kind of thing. You see, like earlier on, you say somebody you're treating the soil. An old person will say, you unajifundisha uchawi wewe. You want to become a mrogi. You're eating soil. No, don't. Not in my house. But you see, we now know. It kills the harmful bacteria so that the plant can grow uninterrupted. So you can see all the knowledge is helping us to develop new tactics. Thank you.
The sterilization process, actually what we sterilize is the soil we made. So the sterilization process, you take water, put it in one drum, and put your soil in the other in an open drum. This one of water is closed. So once you put the water, you close it. So when you heat it, there is steam coming out. That steam passes a pipe that goes through the other drum that has the soil. So once you see the steam coming from the top of the drum, because it's an open drum, you'll know the whole system is sterilized. That is what now you use for the planting.
There is both misinformation. They've mixed a bit of good truth and falsehood. There are some tricks people do on their plants to quicken flowering, to enlarge the fruits, to quicken ripening. There are those chemicals there. So, and those ones have an after effect. Chemicals have a residual effect. They don't disappear completely. So if you use chemicals to mature your fruit, to ripen it, the farmer will be affected. To increase the size, the farmer will be affected. So by people becoming wary of these attractive looking products, they are right. But then they have gone overboard. Because there are some good, attractive products, farm products you can have without chemicals. Like here we are like on day 40. We are on day 40, 41, I think. I don't know. And we have not used any chemical on those plants. We've absolutely used natural material. So should a healthy tomato appear, that fear will come up in the customer. Hey, maybe he need a GMO, he need engineered. Kumbe it's just innocent, well husbanded. It's not yet a problem here in Vihiga. But it being a small world, those things will come into Vihiga. Mm-hmm. So maybe our crusade should be enhanced. Mm-hmm. Like in Vihiga, the only quick ripener of bananas are avocados. Mm-hmm. These market women take avocados and put them together with bananas, and they ripen quickly. So the children eat the avocados, and they take the bananas to the market. Mm-hmm. They don't use chemicals, but it's going to come here. It's going to arrive. Mm-hmm. Yes, but so far, it's not a problem.
This one is a technology I got from visiting other farmers who are doing sterilization of mushrooms, the material they use for mushrooms, and the others who are using it to sterilize soil that they plant bananas. But because of my passion and interest, I knew it could also work for me. Mm-hmm. That one I didn't get it from YouTube, but I got it from a visitation of other farmers. I would really advise farmers to be visiting other farmers. It helps.
So where we are in a basic greenhouse. So the project is tomatoes, and our process starts from the nurseries, where we propagate our seeds on propagation trays. So from seeding to transplanting, it takes 2 weeks. Then after 2 weeks, we transplant them to the bags. Yes, as we do bags here because our soils are waterlogged, and so we are supposed to be very careful to avoid contamination. So from transplanting the seeds, we take, right now they are at 45 days old. We are flowering and fruiting at 45 days. So we are targeting like 75 days to market. Yes. About 20 years ago, my parents ventured into the greenhouse farming, but it didn't go down well because we didn't know the challenges that were affecting us. So along the process, we learned, and I had to go and add some knowledge so that we can walk the journey together. As I've ventured into various agricultural projects. I've been in Lotoktok, in Kitengela, and there I was venturing into open field farming. It was not basically greenhouse. So around now, after gathering all the knowledge, is when I've started to venture fully into farming. My day runs from between 5:30 and 6 in the morning up to late in the night, up to around 8, because it is general, it is a crop and animal. So you must start from the milking and the feeding before you get to the shamba, because actually they both depend on themselves. You get the greens from the farm, you give the animals, you get the manure from there, because now we are venturing into purely organic farming. So we don't give a chance to synthetic fertilizers, because that's how to grow a healthy nation. Yes. I don't see the need of going back to Nairobi. Farming is my passion, and now it's my employer. So I see myself retiring in it.
I've actually had my share of those Nairobi and other places, but your mind keeps on going back to your roots and seeing how opportunity is being wasted and comparing how you can generate your own cash income at your own pace instead of depending on a salary and a boss and a prepared schedule. So I opted for independence and came down here, and I don't regret. I can see things that are happening now. I introduced them 30 years ago, like the first grafted avocado tree in the whole county is that one at the back there, 1991. So when I brought it here. So now there is this wave of grafted avocados now. But I wanted to be at the cutting edge, to show the way, to lead by example. And I'm happy it is happening now. The ground here in Vihiga, in terms of agriculture, production, and commerce, it was zero. The agriculture here is basically subsistence. And it's not even enough. You have to import more food. So with the kind of agriculture that yields nothing at the end of the day, I decided to be innovative. That's why in the year 2009, I procured a greenhouse tunnel from Amiran and from, it's actually basically from Israel, and went into tomato farming. But it was a disaster because there were things we didn't know about this. You know, the ground, the conditions here, and tomato farming. So it was a disaster. All of us, we were about 5 of us, with Robert Mlemi, Mrs. Mudavadi, Mrs. Kibisu Kabatesi. We were 4 of us, and all of us failed dismally. We made a support group. It didn't help until recently, when our children went and got more information and brought it, and we decided now to get going again.
Most of our farmers make a mistake. They start marketing what they don't have. That's going to ask, utachukua nyanya, will you get cucumbers? I'm doing it differently. I plant and then go for the market. Like cucumbers, that's what I did. So I discovered, kumbe, what I had was very little. And so many people are discouraging me that cucumbers might not have a market. But I discovered the best thing is have the crop, then you go look for the market. The market is there. It's only that we don't have the products. Otherwise, I was asked if I could supply 100 kilos of cucumbers every day, just here at source, and I was not able to. I had to run away from that, and that's why I came back to start planning to have more. But the market is there. What we need is the product first.
When they removed the agricultural extension work, that was the farmer's contact with information. That was the farmer's avenue for information. So it was cut. So a farmer who is not has no access to information, like what we have here, I thank God. You just rode there with your quarter acre of land and you say, we don't have land in Maragoli. Oh, in Maragoli, these things don't grow there.
Specifically, maybe tomatoes, but cucumbers don't have a lot of challenges. The only challenge of cucumber might be the market, because people here, most people don't know it. But for tomatoes, it is diseases, pests and diseases. But with pests, is not a big challenge. What I have done, I keep rabbits. And those rabbits, the urine of rabbits controls a lot of pests. I'm trying to be as organic as possible. So I use the urine of rabbits for foliar feed and also for controlling pests. The other thing is we don't have these trained farmers, extension services of farmers. So most of the things I do, I learn on YouTube, or I do try and error. Like I tried to place the tomatoes lying down, but I had to burn one line because I didn't know how to do it until I went back to YouTube and discovered the way to do it. So most of the problems we are having is the trained personnel are not available, and so you have to do it yourself. Otherwise, the challenges of hailstones and the weather problems with the greenhouse, we don't have it.
There is lack of knowledge, information, and those who lack knowledge don't look for it. You know, you don't know anything and you're stuck. You don't want to learn. And the people who are supposed to bring you that information don't reach you. So you're stuck. So it's basically about the flow of information, the flow, the news about innovations and, mitigations for these problems we have here. Like the other time we just had fall armyworm, and it messed people here because of lack of information. Until farmers started telling, oh, ash, fire ash. You're attacked by fall army, your maize plants, just get ash from the Vihiga and so that information, it took long.
The problem they might have also is water. Yeah, but for the 8 by 10 greenhouse, we use eight mitungi jerrycans of 20 liters. That is is about 200 liters. If you are making 1,000 shillings, you will call somebody. We pay 20 bob per jerrycan. If they are bringing you 10 jerrycans, that's only 200 shillings, and you are making 1,000. You still have your 800. So nobody should come and say water will be a problem. No, it's not a lot of water you use. Very little water. So the issue should not be there. Somebody will tell you, oh, imagine. No, you can still even employ, using your greenhouse, you get water from the river, wanakuletea, and otherwise if you have a drum like me, still is even, I've never gone to the river for water because I have a drum. Yeah.
What we did not know is, we actually planted the seeds directly into the ground and placed the drip lines on top. Then suddenly the The young plants started wilting and drying and dropping. And all of us went through the same experience. So this is not personal error. It must be something deeper than that. The problem was something called bacterial wilt. Bacterial wilt. And we learned that bacterial wilt is endemic in these soils of Vihiga, southern Kakamega, So these soils have bacterial wilt. They cannot support anything, any plant that is vulnerable to bacterial wilt. And tomatoes are the most vulnerable to bacterial wilt. They cannot survive. So that's where our failure came from. We didn't know our soil background. We just came with a new idea and we started going. So that's where we failed. And that's why we've corrected that this time around.
Most of our people, surprisingly, when they started putting up these things, the greenhouses, some people started thinking I'm a bank smoker. I don't know what I'm doing. And they would curiously come and look at it and start wondering, what is this guy doing? But probably now they can see the results. Some of them are coming and marveling. And of late, I've had 2 neighbors who have come and said they really want to try it. I'm ready to give them free consultancy because these are things you cannot do alone. You cannot meet the market alone. So I'm ready to give friends and other people who are interested free consultancy so that we can move this journey together. But it's an interesting thing, and I believe, especially the retired people, if you are retired, it is not possible to do dairy because dairy has a lot of work to do. Wake up very early in the morning. But for the greenhouse, maybe I take about 20 or 30 minutes in the morning, 20 or 30 minutes at lunchtime, 10 minutes in the evening just to put on the water, and that is done. So it's not a labor-intensive thing, no. So you just wait to harvest. Maybe spraying once in a week, but otherwise it's not labor-intensive. It can be done by the old, even 90 years old, you can do it.
It's basically the mandate for for Kari, these days is Karo, is different. It's basically research and information provision. In fact, it's Kari that told us this is a bacterial wilt. Like recently we had a banana issues, Fusarium wilt again. It's Kari that told us it's Fusarium wilt from Uganda. Somebody imported planting material from Uganda where there was Fusarium wilt going on. So it's Kari. Kari comes, but basically for information and training. But it cannot plant ideas in you, like go commercial, do this, do that. They basically research. They're basically more academic than practical. Everything here is so relaxed. You can't go with seeds in a packet and enter America. You'll be stopped. You can't go with any planting material and transport it into America. It will not. But you see what I said about Uganda. An organization went to Uganda, bought tissue culture bananas plantlets from Uganda and brought them here. Kumbe they were already infected with wilt. So they came here and affected. Big sets of bananas. I was also affected. So we need tighter controls. We need tighter controls in Kenya. Biological material that comes into our borders, some of it is potentially harmful. And it has actually been proved to be harmful, like the example I just gave. Yes. Remember cypress?
They were.
In fact, all these trees have been affected at some stage. We had cypress, we had even eucalyptus, the dreaded eucalyptus. It was the last to be affected. But first it was cypress. Recently we had macamia, urubu, macamia lutea. They all practically died. So we've been having these waves of infections without knowing where they came from. But my bet is they blow in from across our borders. So we need more tightening of controls. Even when we were having these issues with Amiran, they also got concerned. They told us about solarization, you know, drying the soil on the sun and then replanting. It never worked. They talked about steaming. It never worked. But as we went a step further with the young men and more information with the internet, so we discovered there are things like biochar. I bet you've never heard of biochar. And other soil treatment mechanisms like rabbit urine. We collect urine from our rabbits here. We've kept them for that purpose. We have cows. We collect the urine for that cow. So we treat the soil, include biochar, include rabbit urine, cow urine, and then we avoid planting direct into the soil to avoid contamination. Because you plant direct in the soil with this surface runoff, you've done nothing. So we plant into bags and we line the bottom with plastic sheeting. So contamination from the soil is almost zero. So that's how in a nutshell, that's how we overcome it. And it's working. A friend of mine, you'll see him, his are already ripening. Mine are flowering. So that is how we overcame. You treat the soil seriously and avoid contamination from the ground, soil ground. Yes, no chemical. Actually, we do no chemicals because even like white mites and other insects, if they invade, we put rabbit urine in a knapsack and spray. Kuisha maneno. It's only fungal infections that cannot be cured by the rabbit infection, rabbit urine. Rabbit urine is a great, what do you call it, mitigation for many of these problems.
The traditional farming, especially of maize and beans, is labor intensive. Financially, you put in a lot of money, but what you get out, like in an acre, you might end up with 10 bags of maize, which is not financially, it doesn't help you financially. But with the greenhouse, a space of 10 by 8 meters, you can get a minimum of 3,000 shillings every day, which adds to about 90,000 a month in a very small space. But you go to the traditional ways of farming, maize farming, you use a lot of space to get very little money. Even cattle rearing, you have to have acres of space to plant napier. But this one, you can do it even alone. Even the old people can do it, people who are retired, because yours is just to put on the water for some minutes and maybe do some little pruning. So the traditional way is not, with our small farms, I don't advise.
Basically, GOK, ladies and gentlemen, are not very keen to engage with farmers, especially when they stopped that extension people. The people who used to go around farms. You have basically no contact with the county Department of Agriculture unless you ask for them. Although we've engaged of late with the county on other things like on African leafy vegetables and bananas, tissue culture bananas. We've engaged with them because I think the approach has changed now. They're now getting farmers into special interest groups. I think there's now a change of tack. Like as I told you, of late they've started engaging farmers. In fact, I'm classified as a contact farmer. They actually come here with the farmers and sit and talk to them. They have now divided farmers into special interest groups. Um, they have the grafted banana, tissue culture bananas, grafted avocados, African leafy vegetables, tissue culture bananas, dairy cows, and commercial chicken. They have those groups, and the county is in charge. This is a very recent development, and I see many young, vibrant women and men. They're now engaging farmers. So now things look much, much better than they were at that time.
The Gen Zs, I'm advising Gen Zs to come into agriculture. Let them come to us. We show them the way. This is the way to go. Nobody can miss a land of about 10 by 10 meters, even a compound. And you can make your 100,000 every month. It is very good money. So the Gen Zs, I'm advising them, wachana kutafuta kazi. Hii ndio kazi. Greenhouse is the way to go. And you can plant anything there. You can plant all sorts of high value crops in greenhouses. Wacha Gen Z watoke kwa streets, wacha wakuje wafanye kazi ya ukulima. And they'll get, and this is a clean job, job. Sio utakuwa hata mchafu. You just come to open your water, once it's done, you do a little pruning, and you can even put on your suit and as you work in your greenhouse. This is not a dirty job. I really seriously advise Gen Zs to come for this.
The mindset is more responsible for where we are now than anything else. Not the land, not the pests, not the climate, not the soil. The mindset. Yes.